Hey guys, so I just finished building my 3D printer enclosure and I'm pretty excited to show it off here. I'm new to 3D printing, this is my first 3D printer, but I did my research and what I found out is that there are some plastics or materials that you print with where they can give off toxic fumes and they're not good to be breathing in. There's also a risk with 3D printers when it comes to fire hazards. Sometimes they catch on fire and that can be a problem, obviously. Now, I don't want to sit around waiting by my printer for 10 plus hours on end, so I figured why not build an enclosure with a built-in fire suppression system. So I looked at what was out there online and what other people had done, and pretty much what everyone is using is these sort of industrial tubes that are filled with some sort of chemical that when they get enough flame on them, they heat up and then they burst, putting out the fire in the enclosure. So a couple problems with that, however, is one, it's extremely expensive, probably around like $300 just to put in that little tube. And then two, you also have to wait until flames get onto it. It's not going to go off until that thing is really lit up and catches on fire. And I ideally want to prevent a fire before that happens. So I have developed my own system, which is a lot cheaper and a lot better. So I'm just going to come show you how the enclosure is built and how the fire suppression system works. So the way this works here is I have a smoke detector right next to the outtake fan of the enclosure, and this is actually a Z-Wave enabled detector. So if it ever detects any smoke at all, what it's going to do is it's going to send a signal to my automation program, which then in turn sends a signal back to turn on this smart switch and turn off this smart switch. This smart switch being this fan here, so it's going to turn on and this fan is going to start to go, hopefully putting out any fire that's going on in this enclosure. At the same time, it's shutting power off to the 3D printer and also power to the intake and outtake fans here to sort of stop more airflow from feeding the fire at the bottom. This fan here should be so powerful that the theory is it's going to blow out any fire that's happening in the enclosure. Just like if you were to give way too much wind to a campfire, it would go out. So I'm going to test this in a bit and see how it goes. So the other stuff I have in here wired is, of course, my switch from the outside to provide power to the whole system. This here is the cord that goes into the 3D printer, which is attached to the smart plug. And I've got the two fan controllers coming in here. And here is an extension cable for the LCD screen. And somewhere in here, which I still have to run the wires down from the top, that's going to be the temperature controller. Okay, so here I'm going to test the fire suppression system. So that light there represents my 3D printer. So if this works correctly, it should go off and the fire should be put out that's in the bucket. If anything goes wrong, don't worry about it, because this is just a YouTube video. Okay. Smoke is not... Oh, there we go. And then the fan kicks in. And it puts out the fire. And then all the smoke is ventilated out my window. And then I can come shut off the whole system with the switch at the back here. So I opened this door just a second ago off camera, and so much smoke was still in the chamber here that it started to come out into my apartment. So even though I hadn't fully sealed it just yet, this thing does an excellent job at containing any smoke that's in there. As you can see, the fire was put out here completely, and you know, this is worst case scenario with a bunch of dry tinder and paper towels. Obviously, if a printer were to catch on fire, it would not be this bad, and the fan was able to put out this no problem. And yes, the actual dry wood was burning, not just the paper towels, as you can see by this piece here. So the first great thing about having an enclosure that you'll notice is the sound. It's a lot quieter to do your prints, and I'll just open the door here so you can hear the difference. So it's definitely a lot better to be printing all day in my apartment with an enclosure to muffle that out. I've got my temperature sensor up here so I can see what the temperature is inside the unit itself. I've got my LCD screen here. Here I've got my intake and outtake exhaust, and I can turn them off or set the percentage of how fast I want the fans to run. Here I've got a switch that controls the fire suppression fan. It's just a simple three-way switch, so that always stays at the highest speed. So at the back I have the power switch, and then down here I have the intake fan, and I can easily open and close the intake fan here, so if I want it to get colder inside with more airflow, I can open that up and turn on the fan. Otherwise I can shut it and get the enclosure to stay warmer. So on top I also have my spool of filament, which I'm probably going to be replacing this soon with a filament dryer, but it's okay for now. I've got a little accessory holder here for my scraper, and this is the exhaust adapter, which runs over to my window here. And this here I actually designed and printed out myself. It's actually an adapter to get onto my exhaust, and it just hooks on place with magnets. So I can easily take it off if I want and close my window, or if I'm ready to print, I can just place it back on. It goes on really quick. For extra precaution, I've also bought a fire spray, which I have 3D printed a holder here, which I'm going to mount to the side, just in case anything does go wrong and my fire suppression system can't take care of the fire. There will be a spray nearby to put it out. So to open the chamber, you just slide this, and there's some magnets here which clip the door into place. And I also have a magnetic seal over here where I seal the door as it closes, but I'm actually just waiting on some spring-loaded hinges to come in before I finish that off and have it working automatically. So over here you can see I have a webcam, and this is for taking some time lapses. You can see here I've taken a few time lapses already, and I'm still trying to figure out some of the settings and the best camera position to take better time lapses. So inside the enclosure I have a second webcam, which I haven't got working yet, but I hope to soon. You can also see here I have my filament runout sensor, which the plastic filament is feeding into, and then I've made a little roller here to help the filament guide itself down here into the print head. Down here I've just got a little USB hub, and that's just for connecting the printer and the cameras all together. Then the USB hub just plugs into this little keystone adapter here, and then of course this plugs into my server, which is running Octoprint, which allows me to print remotely and manage the printer remotely while it's printing. So here's what the printer looks like at night. Pretty cool, I think. And now I've actually printed a little tool holder here to hold some accessories. I had a ton of fun working on this project, and I hope to do a lot of cool things in the future with my 3D printer. I know there's a bunch of accessories that I've been meaning to print for my bike or other objects around the house. So I'll definitely look forward to using that in the future. Sorry I don't upload videos as much as a lot of you would like. It's a little hard for me to get the time to make these, but I hope to do more of these in the future. And if you like my videos, just stay subscribed, and thanks for watching.